How's it going, everyone? My name is True Underdog, and today we're going to work on a tier list for Mortal Kombat 11. Now, I've done my best to do as much research as possible, I've watched a ton of tournaments, and I've observed other tier lists by other creators as well. And I do want to give you a word of warning, do not trust tier lists that you see on random websites. Those things are just nuts. I feel like they were made on day 2, everyone trying to make a tier list as soon as possible, and I understand I'm a bit late on this, but at the very least that means I can do a bit more research. Now, I do kind of want to state that every character in this game feels decent, they're all viable. I don't think any character is objectively bad, but some characters are much better. Alright, so the tier list I had earlier wasn't actually usable, it only had a few characters. This one seems to have everybody, including some characters who aren't out yet, like Shang Tsung. Sorry buddy, you're not going to be used today because I have no idea how he plays, though I imagine a zoner. But watch him surprise all of us and he's actually a crazy rushdown character, that would be nuts, right? So first up we have the S tier. So the S tier is where all the really good characters go. Characters that are so good they border on cheap. So at the very start here, I think I'm going to go ahead and put our boy Garrus. Which is funny because during the actual reveal event, I thought Garrus was going to be one of the tougher characters to use. But oddly enough, he's very straightforward and he's deadly at any distance, and that's why he's good. He has a very good advancing move when he's further away about jumping distance, and when he's right in your face he has a command grab, and then when he's far away he has that instant hitting low attack that is so good that the opponent basically has to walk forward and crouch every second just to not get hit by it because you can't react to it. It's nuts, it's so darn quick. You just have to constantly crouch low when you're far away. And that attack also gives him a mix-up for one of his best strings, right? His 1-1-1. It can be a mix-up because that last hit is an overhead, but if he does the low enough, you start crouching, and when that final hit lands as an overhead, he gets a crushing blow. So he's really, really good. He has a great way to keep you in the corner, he has great corner carry, he's deadly from any distance. I think Garrus is arguably the best character in the game. I think you'd have a tough time saying that he's not. Now, right behind him, this is where things actually get tricky, because I think a lot of people would say Erron Black. But here's the thing, I don't see many Erron Black players at tournaments, so even though I would argue Erron Black is good, for the same reason Garrus is good, he's deadly at any distance. He has his rifle from full screen, and then from about mid-screen he has that really cheap overhead low mix-up. He has the slide, which leads to the acid puddle on meter burn, and then he has the running overhead, which gives him a crushing blow for doing it twice in a row. He's dangerous from any distance, and then up close he has the most obvious mix-up. He has the overhead ending strings that he can replace with the slide at any point in time. So he's just as deadly as Garrus, so I'm not sure why I don't see as many people using Erron Black, but for the sake of this tier list, I'll say he's right there. I don't think it's just Sonic Fox, I think this character is good in general, even on paper. And then right behind him we have Sub-Zero, in my honest opinion. Sub-Zero is a straightforward, easy character. He's not the best from full screen, but his projectile, for the cost of 1 bar, will beat any other projectile and then hold you in place while he runs in. And he also has some fantastic restand abilities, where he can just force you to block whatever mix-up he does next, which is really strong because he has true 50-50s. One of the few characters who has true 50-50s that lead to a full combo. Erron Black and Garrus have 50-50s to end their combos, Sub-Zero has a 50-50 at the start. So he's very, very dangerous, and because you're left standing, you can't even do your options to escape. You just have to block. So Sub-Zero is very, very good as well. And then I think right behind him, I'm gonna go ahead and do Sonya. Sonya is very, very good. Sonya has true 50-50s in your face at the start of a combo, and then if she touches you, you're just dead. You're dead, like half your health bar is gone, without even a crushing blow sometimes, and in the corner, you're half dead too without a crushing blow, you're just half dead, for the cost of 1 bar. Now that is a very optimal combo to do, but my gosh, she can just delete your health bar. She's not as good from mid-screen and not as good from full screen, but up close she just murders you, so that's why I have her right behind these characters. She's not deadly from any distance, but at her preferred distance, she is very, very deadly. And you know what, already we have our first big change, because I think I want Scorpion to be in front of Sonya Blade, because Scorpion, again, he dominates at any distance. He wants to be up close or around mid-screen because that's where his 50-50s are, but then he has the teleport whenever he's any further away than that. And the teleport is just ridiculous. You can react to it, but if you do any normal, any projectile, I swear this thing can punish you on reaction. Even if your grandma is fighting against you, she still has the reaction time to get you, because that teleport is just so darn quick. Even grandma is doing full screen teleport punishes with Scorpion. Not to mention his damage buff is really crazy too. Before he didn't really have damage, that was the main complaint during the stress test and the beta, but now he has the spear where he can enhance his damage and gets like 40% for just 1 bar and at least 30% for 1 crushing blow, so he's really good. Really, really good, and he can enhance the teleport to make it a mix-up, which is ridiculous. I hate that. I don't think anyone should have that in this game. Only a few characters do, but that to me feels like it should go. It's just ridiculous. But for the sake of a tier list, it makes Scorpion even better, so he's right here. And I think that's it for the top row. So next, let's move on to the A list, which are characters who are good, but they're not bordering on cheap. They're just very good at what they do. So I want to start off by putting Liu Kang right here. I think Liu Kang is very, very good. He has the crazy parry setups, although there are ways to beat it, but the fact that he has that is really, really good. The parry leads to a full combo, and then on your wake up, it's a crushing blow that can also lead to a full combo. This guy can literally kill you with two things. He'll do a combo that's pretty damaging, and then he'll do his parry as you get up, and you're already dead. It only works that one round because then his crushing blows are gone, but he can still do it. And then he has the bicycle kick, which leaves you standing at the end of his combos, which means no wake up options for you. No metered escape, you just gotta block. Now, his mix-ups aren't that good, which is why he has the parry. And I don't see enough players do his short hops, though his short hops aren't that good. If they were, he'd be even higher on the list because he'd have his low combo starters, and his frame traps, and his parries, and then he'd have a low overhead mix-up to an extent. But he doesn't really have that, and that's why he's in the A list. He's very good up close, and he has some pretty good crushing blows and an amazing parry. So I'm gonna go ahead and put him right here. And then right behind Liu Kang, I'm gonna go ahead and put Kabal. If we're talking casual, I think Kabal is in front, but in tournaments, they've done a good job limiting what he can actually do because otherwise he has everything, right? If you were to make a variation build for Kabal, he's one of the better characters in the game, but in the tournament build, I'd say he's right behind Liu Kang. This guy is the king of footsies, especially from jumping distance, but from further away, he doesn't really have as many options unless he has the fatal blow, which, like Scorpion's teleport, can whiff punish nearly anything. But until he gets that, he's not really dangerous past that distance, and his combos require him to spend meter a lot of the time unless you're doing a custom build. Otherwise they don't. But his better combos do require that. His crushing blows though, just like Liu Kang's, are very practical, and he does have a 50-50 at the end of his combos, similar to Garrus or other characters. No 50-50 to start, you standing block all day against him, but he's very good at whiff punishing at around jumping distance, and his combos are decent, so I'd say right about here. I think he's a very good character. And then next up, I think we have Baraka. Baraka is one of those characters just like Sub-Zero who is straightforward good, and you barely even have to explain why he's good. He has really good footsie tools, his crushing blows are extremely practical, and in the corner his combos are devastating. He even gets the crushing blow to end his combos, which makes him even more powerful. His toolkit is very limited though, and just like Kabal, he's very predictable. Thankfully, he has a very good projectile. Baraka's projectile is much better than it deserves to be, but I'm kinda glad he has it for the sake of a tier list because it lets him be a bit stronger. There's not even much more to explain about Baraka. Great footsies, really good crushing blows, great combos in the corner. His mix-ups just aren't the best, and he's not that much of a threat from a distance, though he does have a projectile to kind of keep you honest. And then behind him, I think I'm gonna go ahead and put Jax. No, you know what? Yeah, Jax. I think Jax is really good. Jax is a great rushdown character for the same reasons as Baraka, but his projectiles are limited. He doesn't really get a good projectile until he's heated up, and even then, using that projectile removes his damage buffs. So Jax has rushdown that is just as good as Baraka, but his projectiles are a lot more limited. And I'd argue his crushing blows are a bit more limited too, so I'm gonna go ahead and put him right behind Baraka. And then we have Jackie. Jackie, I feel like, is tied with Jax. Maybe a bit in front. I've seen Jackie do better at tournaments than I have Jax, but I'm not sure. Her combos are great. She has much better combos. She doesn't really have the projectiles like Jax does, so that makes her a bit more lacking. But once she is close, I think she's better at doing what she does than what Jax does. So I think she's a better rushdown character and her combos are better, but she just doesn't have that kit from a distance. So as far as a tier goes, I think she's right behind Jax, but not by a lot. Man, things are getting tough in this A bracket. This is the most thinking I've had to do for the entire tier list, is this A bracket. I want to go ahead and say Scarlet is right behind the two of them. I think Scarlet is the best at what she does as well, and she's deadly from any distance. Her projectiles, oddly enough, aren't what make her scary. It's that like spiky tongue thing that she has that makes her deadly. And then her combos are meterless. If she does manage to get you at that jumping distance, she has some of the best meterless combos in the game. And on top of that, she can get her health back. Like, it's no joke. She has so many moves that give her health back. And casual, right? If you could build your own character, I think she'd be much higher. But as far as tournament builds go, I'd say she's right here behind Jackie. She's a good keep away character, and she's even more deadly at around jumping distance, in my opinion. I think she's very, very good. She's not really lacking in any department outside of the tournament builds. And her crushing blows are also pretty easy to get as well. But in the tournament, I'd say she's about here because they do a pretty good job limiting what she can actually do. I'm gonna go ahead and say Katana is right behind Scarlet. Katana is a really good character at every distance as well, but she doesn't really excel at anything. She's good at around jumping distance, and her projectiles are pretty decent from further away. She has good corner combos with that flutter, and her mix-ups are decent, but they're very predictable. You basically never have to standing block or crouching block at the start of her combos. She doesn't have any mix-ups at the start. She has mix-ups in the middle, but not if you memorize what she can do. If you memorize what she can do, she's not really much of a threat. She's very similar to Scarlet. I'd say they're almost tied as far as how useful they are at a tournament. I wish I could stack them above each other, but I think they are pretty even. Scarlet and Katana for the exact same reason. Katana was a lot stronger before that patch when they nerfed her fans right out of the gate, but once they did that, her combos became a lot more limited. In the corner, she has some more creative stuff, but I still don't think that Katana's that crazy. I do see her a lot more at tournaments though than Jackie or Jax, but I think on paper, these characters are still a bit better than Katana. She is very straightforward, and once you learn to block her, she has a very tough time opening you up. I think that might be it for this row. I think that's it for the A characters. So next, let's move on to B, and this is where things are gonna get a bit crazy, and y'all might start disagreeing with me here. So I think that Jade is actually pretty good. I think people are sleeping on Jade. She has true 50-50s up close, and she's very good from a distance, and she can hover in the air with that projectile, which means your zoning is almost useless, unless you have a really good anti-air that reaches in front of you like Noob Saibot. Outside of that, you can't really challenge her when she's in the air, especially if she spins the bar, and the fact that she has a true 50-50 up close is pretty deadly, and then in the corner she has meterless combos that are also 50-50s to start the combos off. So I think she's really good. I think people are sleeping on Jade, not to mention she has the parry, and she becomes immune to projectiles. I think Jade is actually really good. People just aren't using her for whatever reason, and I'm not entirely sure why. Because not only can she start off a combo with a 50-50, but also in the middle of her combos she has a 50-50 too. Because when that overhead is coming, she can just do a Denny and Spark to knock you down. So I think she's pretty good. I think people are sleeping on Jade. I think she's a very good character. And then right behind her we have Noob Saibot. Noob Saibot is a very misunderstood character in this game. A lot of people online are getting frustrated with him, and I think it's because his combos hurt so much, and his projectiles seem really good. But here's the thing, he has 0 mix-ups to start off those combos. You can block low all day against Noob Saibot, you really can, especially at a tournament. He has to whiff punish you to open you up. That's the only way he can do it. The only mid he has is not good. It's a very risky mid, it's slow, it's got like no mix-up to it, so you block low against Noob Saibot all day, and nothing he does will give him plus frames against you. So he has no pressure, he's all about whiff punishing. And then as far as his projectiles go, they're one of the weaker projectiles because if he gets hit, the projectile goes away. So his running man that comes at you, if you're playing Cassie or Katana and your fan hits him, that man goes away. So you don't even get hit. He can't even projectile trade. Now he can teleport, but his teleport, unlike Scorpion's, is much slower because he stays on screen for much longer and he goes up, so he can actually get hit by most projectiles unless he's full screen, which is not where Noob Saibot wants to be. He actually wants to be around jumping distance so he can whiff punish you. So Noob Saibot is very lacking. Not to mention his biggest weakness of all is how many high attacks he has. You can uppercut nearly every advancing move Noob Saibot has. In fact, you definitely can. Every move that can start off a combo with Noob Saibot, you can uppercut. Every single one. He has that mid, but it's very easy to block. It's not a mix-up. So again, just crouching block all day against Noob Saibot and you're good to go. He doesn't have 50-50s. His crushing blows are a bit tougher to get to, his projectiles are weaker than average, and his teleport is not much of a threat. I don't think I've seen Noob Saibot win any tournaments. I know a lot of people think he should be way up here, but to me, I don't think he's even better than Jade on paper. I think people are good with Noob Saibot because he kills you with a couple whiff punishes. But if you're more patient, he can't really do very much against you. And even once he hits you, he still has no mix-ups coming. So I think Noob Saibot requires a player who does a lot more throws, that way the opponent's just scared to block in general, then you walk backward to bait an uppercut, or bait some sort of move and then whiff punish. That's how you play Noob Saibot effectively, because when it comes to pressure, he has none. When it comes to keep away, he's not the best at it. And his teleport is also subpar. I think Noob Saibot is just behind Jade. I know it's a bit controversial. I think it's the biggest thing on this video that people will disagree with, but it's how I honestly feel about this character. I think Collector is behind him. I haven't done a ton of research on Collector, but I do understand why he's good. Collector has 50/50s in the middle of his strings, he has pretty good range, he can teleport, and his crushing blows are pretty reliable, and he has tons of ways to extend combos, and his combos have good corner carry. He's a very surface level good character. His projectile game just isn't the best. He's not good when you zone him out, and he just is a bit lacking in that area. He doesn't really excel at anything, but he is decent at everything. So master of none, but jack of all trades character with some mix-ups in the middle, but once you learn the mix-ups in his strings, he's not really a threat anymore. Similar to Noob Saibot, although you do have to actually block against Collector, but once you learn how to block, he can't really open you up. So that's his biggest problem. In a casual setting, I think he's much better because he has some really fun stuff, but in tournaments, he's a lot more limited. And then we have Cetrion. You know what? I think I'm going to put Cetrion in front of Collector because Cetrion is the best at what she does. Her keep away is really good, her mix-ups are decent, and she has some very easy combo extension. She has great whiff punishing and a bunch of anti-airs too. She is really good at keeping you out of her space. So I think Cetrion is in front of Collector, but behind Noob Saibot. I don't know, Cetrion, if only she had a few more things. If her combos were a bit better, if her mix-ups were a bit better, I think she'd be a great character. But she's limited by her kit. Once you learn to block her, she's not really scary anymore. Her mix-ups are a lot easier to understand, but once she gets the life lead is when Cetrion is scary, because you have to come to her, and she has so many zoning options. She's so good at controlling space. So once she gets that life lead, she's a very good character, but if you have the life lead, she's no longer quite as good, though her air projectiles make her very deadly, and that's why I think a lot of people like her. She's very good at keeping the life lead once she has it, so I'm going to go ahead and put her in front of Collector. Oh no, and then things get tricky again. Things are once again getting tricky. I want to go ahead and say Cassie Cage, because she's pretty good. And then, not much to say about Cassie Cage. She's just a jack of all trades character, similar to Collector. She has a pretty good combo extender, pretty decent hit confirms, but her projectiles can all be ducked under, and her mix-ups aren't very good up close. So she's a solid character, especially if you're just a regular player fighting online. She's decent, you can definitely win with her. But in a tournament setting, she's not really great at anything. She has that one mix-up in her fatal blow that's like an overhead, so it's kind of tricky, and it avoids stuff, but it's hard to combo into because it has such long startup. So Cassie Cage is one of those characters who seems good, but she's not great, and she's certainly not cheap, so she's right here. And then I want to say Raiden. Raiden's the exact same, I feel like. I feel like Raiden is very similar. He's decent at around jumping distance. From far away, he's not as good of a zoner as he was in the reveal event, but at the reveal event, he was pretty good. Like, he was actually good at the reveal event because his projectiles were really good, and it had people worried that this game was going to be Injustice 3, so I think they toned down his keep away. So his zoning is not nearly as good as it was, and his mix-ups are pretty much gone. He's still a lot of fun to play, but competitively at a tournament, they restrict him a lot more, and the stuff he was good at has been nerfed a lot. So I'd say he's right around here. I don't think he's that crazy. And things get tricky again, man. They're getting trickier and trickier. I want to say that Frost, maybe here? I'm going to put Frost in front of Cassie and in front of Raiden, because Frost at least does have the mix-ups when she's close, and her keep away is almost unmatched if you're a linear character like Jax or Jackie, who does not have a teleport and really has to get in, then her projectiles are really good. But if you're Scorpion, you eat her lunch. You can just turn her upside down, shake her, and empty her pocket change because she can do nothing against you. Her projectiles have such long recovery that you have time to jump over them and then still teleport. Once again, grandma reactions to punish Frost. She's good against linear characters, and then she has an overhead mix-up at the end of her string, which might not seem super good because it has to be an overhead. She has no low-hitting special moves, but she does have her blade spin, which is safe. So the mix-up is, you either crouch to avoid that, but then you risk the overhead combo starter. And then if she enhances that blade spin, she gets a lot of chip damage. So she can whittle you down, even up close. And then her combos are a lot of fun too. She has combos, unlike a lot of characters. And she does have mix-ups, because in some variations she has that overhead special move, which she can then use to replace her low-hitting strings in the middle. So she does have mix-ups. They don't extend the combo, but she does have mix-ups. The low starts the combo, or the overhead knocks you down and carries you far away. And then her crushing blows are somewhat reliable too, and she wins at jumping distance or a little bit beyond that is where she actually wins. So I think Frost is actually pretty decent. I think people are sleeping on Frost just like they're sleeping on Jade. And I don't want to put Johnny Cage on the bottom row, so I'm going to put him right behind Raiden. Johnny Cage is like a weaker version of Cassie, doesn't have any mix-ups but solid hit confirms, not good from far away, not one bit, but up close has the parry, so pretty decent there, but the parry isn't nearly as good as Liu Kang's. So he's a good character, but not a great character, and certainly not a cheap character. So that's where he's going to go ahead and be. And then we have the bottom row, which I think it's a bit easier. So Kano is the best of the worst, I think, which is weird. When they showed the combat cast, I thought Kano was going to be very strong because he has true 50-50s, but his combo damage just isn't that scary. And his 50-50s, he lives and dies by them. If you guess correctly, you can combo him, and then he dies. So he doesn't even have a safe mix-up. A lot of characters, their 50-50s, one of them is safe, not Kano. He risks the entire farm. So that's why he's here. And it's so bizarre to me for Kano to not be good, because I remember how oppressive he was in MKX, and even in MK9, people didn't know how to beat him at the start, and then now it seems like immediately he's not good. So that's bizarre. Kano's just not good in this game, bad in the story mode, and not good in the game either, poor guy. Here's where things get a bit tricky, because these final 4 characters are all bad. Not bad, they're all not good, I should say, right? They're all not good, and then bad compared to everybody else. So it's a tough tie between Kung Lao and Shao Kahn. I think Shao Kahn just at least has damage. Shao Kahn really hurts, and he has fantastic range, and unless you're fighting a good player, they're not going to have his #1 exploit, which is flawless block. You can flawless block nearly everything this guy does. There are so many gaps in his strings. And then he has like no mix-ups either. And from a distance, he's not strong. So you can outzone him, you can flawless block when he's up close, or at the very least, you just block low, because he does not have the overheads to scare you with. Now, if he does scare you, if he catches you out of the air because you're jumping away, or if he whiff punishes you because you're trying to attack first, he's very good because he can make it hurt. He can really make it hurt. He definitely does have that fear factor, but he's just not good at anything else. No mix-ups, not good from far away, and you can flawless block a lot of his stuff at a higher level. So I'd say he's right here. And then who's better here? I think maybe Kung Lao is right behind him. I have not gotten the chance to touch Kung Lao, but I've seen people constantly complain that he's really bad, and it's because he has tons of high attacks, and those high attacks are his only way to get frame advantage, so he can't even pressure you because you just uppercut him. And then he has no mix-ups outside of that. And he's not good from a distance either. So the poor guy just doesn't excel at anything. Unless you're a new player who always standing blocks, you cannot use Kung Lao to pressure people. You really can't. And then his mix-ups aren't there. And then from a range game, he's not very good. Now casually, he has some cool stuff. But competitively, with those tournament variations, he's just not that good. And then we have Kotal Kahn. Poor Kotal Kahn. They made the guy bigger in the game. They tried to give him a better role in story mode too. And when I say bigger, I mean physically more imposing, right? To make him scary. But he's more of a joke in this game than he ever was in Mortal Kombat X. The guy has to give up all of his offense to use any of his gimmicky stuff. So if he wants to do a totem, he gives up all offense, right? If he wants to do the sunlight beam, he gives up all offense, and I think you can actually hit him too. It takes so long to recover. And then outside of that, he doesn't really have any mix-ups, one bit. You block low all day, and he can whiff punish, but his whiff punishes are so slow. They're so slow that it's a bit risky. He has that one high attack that's good, but it only leads to a combo with the crushing blow. His crushing blows are somewhat good, so maybe I should put him in front of Kung Lao, but I'm not sure. I think Kung Lao's probably just a bit faster. Whereas this guy can just be outzoned all day. He does not have a teleport. He does not. He has the discus throw, which can crushing blow once. So one time during the whole match, you do not want to use projectiles on Kotal Kahn, because if you trade, he wins, right? That one time, but that's it. From then on, just walk away and throw stuff at him. And if he corners you, just teleport, right? Get away. The one thing that makes Kotal Kahn cool is his command grab to end combos gives him a damage buff. Problem is, it switches sides. So any corner advantage you had is now given up for the sake of a damage buff, and you're not going to want to do that. And then his go-to combo extender is very slow, so it's not that great. He struggles a lot. All of his gimmicky stuff does not work because you give up all offense, and in this game where you have almost no defensive options while standing, you don't want to give up that offense. Poor Kotal Kahn. And then here at the very end, at the very end of this tier list, we have D'Vorah. Poor D'Vorah, God bless her. She's just lacking so many things. D'Vorah has one good advancing normal that's unsafe on block on the second hit. And the third hit, which is safe, you can duck under and uppercut her. I think she's the only character in the game, or at least one of the few, who ends her string with a high attack. So if you know it's coming, you just uppercut. And she can keep herself safe if she does a special move, but then she has to spend meter just to keep herself safe, mind you. Not even to be plus, just to keep herself safe, and she was not like that before the day 1 patch. But they really nerfed her into the ground. She's such a not good character that even Honeybee does not want to use her, and that man had the most adorable reaction to her reveal I've ever seen. He was so excited, he was on cloud 9. I'd swear you'd think the guy just won the lottery. He was so happy, so darn happy, and now he does not want to play her. Because she's that bad. She's that bad. And just like Kotal Khan, she has setups, but they either cost meter or they give up all of her offense. And even if those setups do land, her combo damage is some of the lowest in the game, if not the lowest, when you consider how it costs 2 bars to do, and you're still not even half dead. With 2 combos and 1 setup, you're still not even half dead. And her mix-ups are almost non-existent too. So D'Vorah is lacking in nearly every area. She has some good crushing blows, but then they're gone. So I think D'Vorah is the worst character in the game currently. Now once again, I don't think any of these characters are bad, especially at a casual level, but competitively, they are at the bottom. And I think that's about it for my tier list, everyone. Please tell me your thoughts down in the comments section below, and then while you're down there, please leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Really does help my channel out a ton. And real quick, don't take these tier lists too seriously, because the game is still very, very young, and there might still be some crazy stuff players discover about this game. So be on the lookout for that. Someone might have some surprisingly amazing tech for a character like Kotal Khan, and then suddenly he's one of the best characters in the game. That might actually happen. You think I'm crazy, but Tira was considered so bad in Soul Calibur 5 that she was unusable. And guess what? She won the biggest fighting game tournament in the world. So this can happen. Terrible characters can be really great characters with the power of just one really good tech. One really good strategy. So that might actually happen for any of these characters. But as it looks right now, here is what I believe to be the definitive tier list for Mortal Kombat 11. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you want more content like this. And as always, stay underdogs.